So the next year is when you started running at Rose Bowl, right?
No, I ran at Boot Hill first with a '69 Camaro.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
And center steering, chain driven steering, no power steering, direct drive transmission. And that was all fun, No 302 Z28 engine, small block.
And that's rare, isn't it? That's pretty
Yeah, it's
rare
pretty
nowadays.
And I still have it on the motor stand over there. But
Yeah.
With the Corvette valve covers on it.
Yeah, it was.
302.
Yeah, it was a bad boy, back then. But anyway, I ran super stock class. And,
Is that like a street stock back then, or?
No, it was more than that. We could run headers and all, and race tires, and that 3/4 ton rear end, 3/4 ton right front hub, center steering.
Big old tires on them back then.
And
Huh?
race tires.
Big right rear, huh?
Yeah, big old right rear. Yeah,
Were y'all making your own wheels at that point, or did y'all have something you could buy then?
We built our own wheels. I don't know what everybody else was doing. But I know a few of them built their own wheels. At 3/4 ton rear end, you have to have to do what you got to do to make everything work out on that.
Right.
We built our own wheels. But
That car was center steer?
yeah, center steer, yeah.
How was that, man? Would you just climb in and you just walked over there to the damn seat, or what?
Yeah, you climb in and you just eased over to the center of the car and sit in the what it was. The seat wasn't. We didn't have seats back then. We had a
bucket.
We used a barrel. 35-gallon barrel was perfect, and then you could cut it to fit, on the sides, where it fit you on the sides, and go just leave it.
Yeah,
I never do that.
But, yeah, I mean that's how we done it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there was better stuff and everything, but
I mean that's a budget back then.
But,
You made your
I
stuff.
had a poster build a seat cover for it, fit the back, and I mean, it was nice to me. It was really nice back then.
Yeah.
And we got a painting of that car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
Found it in
when.
the garage sale.
Is that when Pop was driving that car or something? Or what was the story on that? Because I think
he
it's got
had
a different number on
He
it.
had a bank that was sponsoring him back then that had the car painted,
Yeah.
and by a professional painter. And anyway, somehow years later, 15 or so years later, maybe longer, it ended up. A friend of ours of the family found it in the garage sale
Seen it.
and seen it and bought it, and anyway, I ended up with it.
But what's crazy, it's not just like a bad painting. It's actually very detailed, and you can see.
It's like on felt or something, isn't it?
It's
Is that
very.
right?
Oh no,
Or
it's
something?
not.
It's-
What am I thinking?
I know what you're talking about. It's just it's an old school
Old
painting,
school,
and what it is, it's detailed.
It's real cool. It's real cool. We'll have to,
That's
we'll have
so
to pull
cool,
it out and take a
man.
picture of it, try posting
Yeah,
or something.
it's around. We can find it.
But I'm sure we've talked about it at some point. Is the Chevelle that we have down here, was that your second car, or did you have one between that Camaro and...
No, that's probably my third car. But
I just assumed that the red and the red, that's why I think
the
that.
'69 Camaro was my first car. It had a '57 Chevrolet frame. It was boxed in on all four sides with metal, with plate. It was plated four sides. It was a tough car, loose spring, and I mean it would give a lick and it would take a lick.
It was seasoned when you got it, right?
It finished the race,
Yeah, right.
Anyway, back then it was super stock, and it was tough. I mean, it was just like nowadays, it's tough. It was tough being too,
Yeah.
But anyway, my Chevelles I've got down there, and that we've collected over the years, they're still that was like my third, fourth cars,
Yeah, I posted some pictures of me and Jesse went down there, and Christian checked them out the other day, and I posted some pictures of them. That it's crazy how well some of that brushed on paint is holding up.
Man,
I can't believe
it's
still on there.
ridiculous.
So you're thinking, I'm 32 years old, and that car's been sitting there my whole life.
I knocked pine needles off this thick off the top, and it looks
Well,
good.
it's not lead paint or nothing, but
Yeah,
it is
but-
probably lacquer,
Yeah. Oh, y'all did it pretty good.
Anyway, it was a good painter that done it.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember him well. But I can't believe that paint's still on.
Yeah, I mean the blue one down there, the other Chevelle, it doesn't. The most of it's done came off or faded off over the years, but that red one, boy, that sucker, it's pretty. I mean, it's lasted a lot longer than a bunch of decals would have.
Oh
sure.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I know y'all were using the timing chains and stuff like that to make a
Quick steer.
quick steer.
Yeah.
What year did that fade out where it turned into something else where you didn't have to have it?
Oh, I don't know. People used old chain driven steering for a long time.
After the fact, I guess you could get away from it.
I don't really know what year it was, and they finally quit and started coming out with quick steer boxes.
Yeah.
They could have had them all along. I just didn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's how we done it, and we didn't. It wasn't into spending a lot of money. You know?
Yeah.
And we just everything we used was out of the wrecking yard, and
Cheap.
at the Chevrolet house we'd get parts over there.
I remember you telling me about going to the wrecking yard to get tires to go race on.
Yeah.
Shocks.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. Done whatever we had to do, you know.
I like hearing about when you are 16 because that's kind of relatable to me in a sense, but it's not because it's a different time period. You're building and making a lot of your own stuff. When you were 16, Steven, my Uncle Steven, and Aunt Charlotte would go with you. You're still in school. What kind of pickup were you using?
I had an old '63 Chevrolet pickup, and anyway, that's what I pulled the race car with every week. I missed out on a lot of stuff in high school because we'd go racing.
Heck yeah.
I didn't get to go partying or nothing much, but
it's worth it.
we did race. And anyway, we'd go up to Rose Bowl. Anyway, one night we was coming home from the races, and we just came through Frankston and heading southbound. And like a few, like 7 miles to the house,
Yeah.
Anyway, I fell asleep, and my brother and sister, they was already asleep. Steve and Charlotte, they was already asleep in the truck. And anyway, I woke up with my sister's hand on the steering wheel, jerking the wheel and knocking the hell out of me.
God.
It almost gave me a heart attack, when I was 16. And woke me up, and we're in the ditch, so I grabbed hold of the wheel and I drove it, dirt tracked it back up on the road.
Yeah, with a trailer behind you.
Yeah, with a race car behind us. But anyway, I'll never forget that. But anyway, told her, don't you ever grab the steering wheel when I'm asleep.
And I bet she's mad too. Well, why don't you why are you asleep while you're driving us?
I can't believe you woke me up. I was having a good dream.
Well, back in those days, they'd text for about 3 hours after the race. I mean, it took a while, After the races were over, you're still in tech.
If you did good, you was going to be there a long time, huh?
And, but anyway, I'll never forget that night. That was scary.
Well, what number were you running then? 05, 5, or 50?
I was running number 5.
Okay.
Then. Yeah, that was the first that was the first number on that car.
Yeah.
Oh, which car was it? Because I know Nana's told the story before, and I've heard it from you and probably Steven. You went in, I think it might have been Turkey Nationals, and I don't know if it's the same race because things tend to blur together in my mind. Both the doors ripped off of it, and they went out there and bail and wire them back on, and you end up winning it or something. Is that?
I don't remember what race it was, but I think it might have been. But I'm not sure what the race was called, but it was a big money race. Paid $300 to win back then. It was big money. My father had bought me a couple of rear new tires.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was him that bought them. And then he was running the ARCA, and he gave me some of that ARCA race fuel.
Oh, that.
And so I'd been running ethyl. We used to buy ethyl gasoline in Frankston. What too many people had it back then, But it was called ethyl, and it just had a little more kick to it,
Hell yeah.
And so, which all gas was leaded back then. It wasn't any unleaded. But anyway, I'd always ran ethyl. But he brought that good arc of gas, man. I put that in there.
Turned it on, huh?
Sucker, I had to run fender well headers, and they was blowing blue flame down straight, all the way down the straightaway.
It's crazy to melt a piston or something.
I know, but anyway, I think I qualified like 12th that night, and
Y'all did
my
qualifying
whole
then,
family was there. My uncles, my aunts.
Did y'all do like qualifying back then, or?
No,
just
it was heat races. You know, we didn't do time
Well,
trials.
y'all did trophy dashes also. 'Cause one of the first trophies I've seen that you had was a dash.
Yeah, I won a couple of trophy dashes.
Yeah.
And then they quit doing trophy dashes.
Really?
Right after that, yeah.
I thought that would be pretty cool.
But anyway, so they quit doing trophy dashes. But anyway, get back to the race. I started like 12th, and I ended up. The car was just flying. I don't know if it's because of the new tires and the fuel in the car, but I was just so pumped up, you know. We done turned the time up a notch, you know. We was ready. You know, time was on like 42, you know. We had turned up.
It must have been cool that night. We ain't got to worry about it.
It run, boy. And anyway, come up through the middle, just wherever I had to, but I come up through the middle and come up through there, and when I got in the lead, I didn't have either door on the car.
Was this the Camaro?
Yeah,
Still the Camaro.
Both doors. Both doors. How
yeah.
is that driving a car? And is this center steer, or is it you're on the left?
It's center steer.
You're center steer. You don't have either door. Yeah. You're finna win your first feature, right? Is that your first race?
No, it was my first big race to win.
Yeah.
It's my favorite race probably to ever win in my life.
Well, my whole
because I've got some victories behind me, but that one there I'll always remember because my whole family was there. You know, my mom and my aunts and my uncles.
That's awesome.
Brother and sister, they were just everybody was there. You know.
Oh yeah,
super
storybook stuff.
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of people there, and you know, Hank was there, one of my brothers, and. Anyway, it was just a good time. You know, something you just never forget.
Yeah, and you're young, man. You know, there's nothing like you're a young man like that out running adults.
How many other 15, 16-year-olds was out there? You know,
I don't know of any, but
none?
I'm sure it probably was. You know, but
I mean, that's
wasn't winning.
That's
probably.
saying something. I think.
It,
I mean,
it was really fun.
Being that young, it would piss me off. I'm almost 25 now. If a 16-year-old outrun me like that. Come by driving by me, I'd say, I mean, good for them. I'm glad they got it going on, but also, damn, you know what I mean? He's 16 years old, and he's doing it like this.
That's how I am every time you beat me.
I mean, that's awesome, and that's back in an era when you're building a lot of your own parts and stuff.
Yeah, it was in-house, everything, you know, pretty much.
That's so awesome.
I feel like that'd been probably more fun than it is now, just because you're more personal with the car, I think, you know.
Yeah. It was a lot of good times up there back then. It still is. I mean, I still love it, you know.
Hell yeah. You know, I work out of town a lot, and I get to meet a lot of people, some I don't know or some that we have mutual friends with. But everybody knows you from Thunder Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Thunder Mountain, I feel like it's a big highlight in your life. If somebody was to go back and do a recap of your life, Thunder Mountain... I feel like that was your golden times there. You really shine there.
It was like 10 years of Dad being the guy to beat. And
we're
always
his kids. He's always going to be our hero. But, you always,
dude.
I would be a kid playing in the dirt. I could hear the sounds that, Dad's races up. I leave my friends to go watch because I knew.
Yeah.
Hot stocks are running.
Dad, I remember as a kid, when you was running a modified and hot stock, and then I think you got the ARCA car too. It seemed like, in my mind, every night, and I'm probably 10 to 12 years old at this point. It seemed like every night there was 20 people up here. Between up here in the house, everybody's wives and kids and stuff like that up here.
Had a big following for sure.
Oh yeah,
and that's such a blessing.
Help. I mean, it was always we was always cooking.
Oh yeah,
for everybody, and it was just making sure the cars were ready. Cause we was racing, 2 nights a week, and worked during the week and raced during the weekends. And
Hell yeah.
it was good, you know. I mean, it was, but I couldn't have done it, you know, of course, without all the support I've had over the years.
Oh yeah.
But
I've had
man,
really good sponsors. I've had good car owners I've drove for, and
Oh yeah.
but
Like back when you was driving for Don Smith, man, in that 8M car.
that was a magic
I mean,
period, wasn't
it
it?
I felt like he was unbeatable. If the car, if nothing happened, he
oh
was the
no,
guy
we
to
was
beat.
getting beat some. But ain't no
But-
lie
Well,
about
that was
that.
one
We
of the
was getting beat
toughest
some, but-
classes, I feel like, of competition wise,
Yeah.
man. The
Yeah.
top 5, you're going to see a race.
Oh, we had a lot of hard racing. We, you know, you're talking about Butch Jackson was up there that was way bad fast. You're talking
Dudley
about
Lyons, a lot
Kevin
of people.
Simpson, Danny Guyver.
Tracy
they was
Hedrick.
all there. They was all fast.
I remember there's two things that always makes me think about that car, and that's the first time I ever heard of anybody getting a bounty put on to beat them. You know, come beat this guy.
You get extra money
Yeah,
or something?
you come beat this guy at his home track. You know, with him not having no problems. You know, it's like a $500 somebody'd put up,
Yeah.
and nobody ever claimed that. From what I remember somebody coming out there. And
Tried it out.
Never happened. Never happened. Dad smoked.
We win a few races in a row
Yeah.
at a time.
And I remember a big race at Rose Bowl, and they brought out the hot stocks again, and we went up there on a Friday, and that car had been sitting for like a year, because they wouldn't run them at Thunder Mountain no more or something, and
Yes. Yeah.
and they pulled it out there, and you go out and you can't even hear the car because you're like, you done got such a big lead. Just, well, I guess you was back, and I just sounded like a Cadillac going by. You just hear, ooh, and then
That
you hear
was a good
everybody,
car.
"Rah, rah," you know, and then like they give you like half the purse or something for you
I'll never
to
forget
not
that
come back
night,
the
man.
next night.
I remember
never
that,
heard of
'cause
that.
I'm a
before,
kid,
too.
you know. I said, "Well, what are y'all doing? What are we doing?" And I remember Dad or somebody telling me, "Man, they paid us, you know, not to come back tomorrow night. You know, we're just kind of celebrating
It
right now. We're
happened.
finna load the car up."
It happened,
And I
and
said,
that's what we did.
you know,
Me and
what
Don
the
split the money, and we went to the house. Well, we actually stayed there and pulled the top on a couple of beers, and we just stayed and watched the races, you know.
Yeah,
Don
But,
Smith.
yeah, that was some good times, you know. But,
For sure, man.
Don's somebody else I'd like to.
We
get on
love to
here.
have Don Smith
I
on
know
here.
he got
He's,
some story. He's been doing this stuff as long as you. And his
yeah.
dad, his dad did it for a long time
you
too.
know, what's
yeah.
cool is Pop drove for Don's father, I believe, for a little bit, right?
yeah.
At Mount
Red
Selman.
Smith. Yeah, he drove for Red Smith for a while.
And that's the oldest school you can get, I think. I mean,
That's-
Don and his dad, his dad's name was Red. I mean, that's as cool as it can get. You know what
the
I
only
mean?
other person I've ever known Red in real life, Red Farmer. And guess what? He's still racing. And
Yeah.
I think his number's 97. That's probably his age. You know.
It's-
Don, he used to drive his race car to the track. A lot of people don't know that, but he
Yeah.
used to drive his
Back in
race
Mount
car.
Selman days.
Yeah, Mount Selman Speedway. He used to drive his car to the track and drive it home if it'd make it, you know.
Yeah.
Next on Sunday.
That's
you know,
so
he'd
damn-
leave it there overnight with his own headlights, you
Yeah.
know.
It don't get no cooler than that, man. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, not a lot of people know about it. I mean, I'm sure several do, but tell about Pop owning the original Speedorama back when you was a kid, man. I
That's-
always like hearing those stories, you know.
Yeah, there was a lot to talk about there. That's maybe another one of your episodes.
Yeah.
But,
What era
There's
is
a lot
that? Early 70s or is that middle 70s? Or
man, I was pretty young. It was in the 70s.
yeah,
I was probably wasn't even a teenager then.
Yeah.
But I just remember picking up trash there and rocks out of the track, you know, and throwing them out
come Sunday,
on
you
Sundays, you know.
yeah, man.
I got to see some really good racing there, and got to see some. You know, back then, Stunt Devils was really popular.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You know,
Yeah.
and I seen Gary Wells jump 3 buses on a motorcycle, man.
No crap.
And that's not dirt bikes then. That's
It's
motorcycles.
a
I've
motorcycle.
seen cars go around that dirt track at Speedorama on 2 wheels, you know, on the side.
Yeah.
go up a ramp, kick it on the side, and go all the way around the track.
Stunt drive or something.
Yeah.
No trick shocks or nothing back in.
I seen a guy get blowed up one time, sitting in a chair with dynamite under the chair. It blew him way up there, and he just flopped down on the track. You know.
God.
Yeah.
But
You know,
back then they would do anything to fill the stands and.
Yeah, we're gonna kill this guy. What the hell, man?
They could fill the stands. I mean, it'd be standing room only.
He's a good track owner, promoter.
I can see that
Yeah.
Pop being a good promoter like that.
Well, he'd put on a show.
Yeah.
You know.
How was it on a Sunday after a good night of racing when you just seen? I'm guessing it's you and Aunt Charlotte and Uncle Steven picking up trash. I'm sure I can't imagine in the '70s. I'm sure it's just slap full of trash and in the grandstands.
Beer cans, beer bottles.
I mean, I would think it would be a full day. You know what I mean? Of picking up.
I'm gonna lie, it was a lot. You never want to own a dirt track because of that reason. You know, if it didn't have enough trash cans sitting around. But,
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
it was really, really cool. You know, but he ran a dirt track the way he drove. He drove hard and fast, and if somebody got into somebody and they're trying to get to the front and they end up spinning them, he just let it go, you know.
That was his call, right?
He drove it that way too, you know. He drove it to the front.
He raced at his own track some too, didn't he?
I don't remember. But he used to race there before he had it.
Maybe that's what
I have seen a picture of Pop at Speedorama. Remember that cool picture? It's like it's level with the ground, with the track. And you can see Pop's face and everything, man. It's like a 55 Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's one of the coolest pictures I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's way cool. I can't believe how some of them black and white.
It's really before its time how clear I think it really should be.
Yeah, I was a friend of my dad's. His name was Jack. Anyway, he took a lot. Jack Allen, and he took a lot of the track photos. He took all of them.
Yeah.
But back then it was black and white, you know.
Yeah.
But he done every angle there possible, and was a very good professional photographer.
Hell yeah.
I'll never forget Jack. He was a good man.
Man, I like to talk about some of the tracks you've ventured off to, not just our local. You know, you run a Friday and Saturday night show for a few years. Rose Bowl, Thunder Mountain, or Lone Star.
I know you ran at Volusia County before too.
Yeah,
that's
I know it didn't work out like you wanted, but I mean,
let's hear that from the beginning. I want to know this.
How that came about, and you know what I mean.
Oh well, that was just getting there was an experience, you know.
Oh, I'm sure.
But because we was hauling two cars with the same truck. We had a ramp truck, old Ford, with a Chevrolet motor in it, and Chevrolet 3/4 ton rear end under it with adapters to make it a dually on the back, you know.
Well, you wanted to get there. That's why you had to put a Chevrolet motor in, right?
Yeah, I mean, the motor never gave us no trouble.
Yeah.
How long is it to Volusia, though, from Texas?
It's 1,100 miles from his shop to the tunnel at Daytona. It's 1,100 miles. Yeah. And back then it was 55 mile an hour, you know, so
it took forever.
You know, well, if you ran the speed limit, it'd take forever.
It's supposed to take forever.
You know, we tried to get there, going up there, you know, and
yeah,
you know, but anyway, we're heading on down 69 South, get on down to Orange, Texas. You know, you get on 10, Interstate 10, you just eastbound the rest of the way, and but. Anyway, you know, we had the kind of late model on the truck, you know, ramp truck, and I had my UMP modified on the back of it on the trailer. And anyway, we're heading eastbound, and the old rear end started getting hot.
Oh no!
And anyway, the rear drive shaft started shaking. You know, we kept feeling this harmonics. I said, "What the heck?" So we pulled over. Well, the drive shaft was just about to throw out of it. You know?
Yeah.
So, of course, we had a couple of spare drive shafts in the trailer, the race cars. So we pulled the U-joints and out of them and put them in the truck rear end.
And it worked out because it's Ford, right? Is that why?
It was Chevrolet rear end.
So it worked out. Oh, okay.
But anyway, the caps wouldn't fit the rear end. It's perfect.
Oh, shit.
And so they were too small. So anyway, we're trying to figure out what the heck we're going to do. You know, we're out in the middle of nowhere. It's the middle of the night. And anyway, so I found a beer can laying in the ditch. So I got my old pocket knife out and I cut that beer can same width as the caps, and we wrapped that beer can around each cap and put them in there.
Yeah, to take the slack out, so it worked.
Slack out, keep from harmonic.
Did you really find it in the ditch, or y'all just this was empty? You had no
floorboard.
It was
laying right there in the ditch.
I bet it was laying in the ditch, wasn't it?
It was laying in the ditch.
Okay, that's all right.
You know, because we didn't drink and drive.
No, I'm sure y'all did. Yeah, I'm sure y'all didn't. Okay,
but
we'll carry on.
So we that's how we made it to Florida. Wrapped those. I mean, we made it all the way to Florida from the other side of Orange to Daytona, Florida, with aluminum cans wrapped around the U-joint cap. Anyway, we made it all the way, other than having to stop a couple of times to cool the rear end off. And I had one of those water fire extinguishers. You can fill it with water and air it up and put some air in it. You know.
Yeah.
And anyway, when we stopped to get gas, I'd spray that rear end down. It'd just sizzle. You know, the rear end was so hot. We had too much weight.
Yeah.
You know, Doug Ingles was going to drive the late model, and I was going to drive the UMP modified. And he was going to meet us up there. He flew up there with my dad in an airplane. And anyway, we met him up there, but it just took us about 2 hours longer than it should have. You know.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah.
Back then, it would take 19 hours to get there.
Yeah.
You stayed in it, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's how long it took us to get there, even with trouble.
So how did it work, even knowing what gear you needed for Volusia County when you're in Texas and you don't have social media?
Well, Doug's already been racing there for several years.
Doug knew, didn't he?
Doug knew what to do. You know?
Yeah.
And anyway,
he was probably racing for a living back then.
He was racing for a living. You know?
A lot of respect for Doug. And
I learned so much that weekend, but you know, well, we were really going to race for 2 weeks. That was the plan, to go up there and race. They raced 14 days straight.
Right,
you know,
speed weeks.
Yeah.
During speed weeks and at Volusia County. And anyway, the first night we were there, we got fogged out. It was so foggy.
Really?
You couldn't even see across the track.
I've never even heard of that until now.
You know, I mean, the pits at Volusia County is on the back stretch. We couldn't even see the flagman on the front. It was that bad, and they finally called it off. It was just fogged out. So we went out there on the second night, and Doug went out there, and he was kind of tight through the middle, you know. So, and the bolts were vibrating out of the dang water pump, I remember.
Yeah.
It just had some harmonics we couldn't ever figure out. And we Loctite them in there and everything. But anyway, I don't know how we fixed that, but I think we ended up fixing it.
I remember
Doug probably remember, but
y'all put some some wire on them or something like that. I think.
I just don't remember what we did.
But it worked, I guess.
I'll have to talk to Doug about that, see what he says. But
yeah.
Anyway, getting back to the UMP modified, was running good in the feature, and this car, and like in second place, starts losing it up high. Everybody was on the bottom. He starts losing it up high, and I don't know where I was at, probably 5th place. And he come down, and we hit head on.
Oh, he never lifted. Probably he just stayed in it.
I mean, we hit head on, and we hit so hard that nobody hit me in the ass end, but the ass end of the car just bent over. The whole back.
Golly,
of course, the front just bent all up.
All that energy went through the car and just moved it.
It was I couldn't move my head for like 3 days.
Yeah.
I was so whiplashed.
What do you do after that? What'd y'all do?
And but we kept running the late model, a kind of late model. Doug kept driving in, and he got it dialed in. He done good. I don't remember exactly how he done, but we done good. But we come back to Texas, and Doug had a metric front end already stripped, and he rode back with me, and he said, when we get back to the shop, he goes, let's build a car. He goes, I'll build it for you. And we built that car in one day.
What the hell? What do you mean build a
bumper
car?
to bumper? He put that whole, it bent every tube and tacked it on there. in one day.
That's why Doug Ingles is a legend right there. I mean,
that's crazy.
who else
Not
can
kidding.
do that, man? I mean, that's crazy.
It was one day deal. He built a whole new car for me.
How many of y'all was it?
Was that
doing
your
it?
car?
There was only 3 of us in the shop.
Was that your car when you went down there, or was you just
It was,
driving?
it was Kim Lancaster's car.
Yeah.
Was that the white one?
Yeah, it was white.
Okay. So we got doors and stuff hanging up in here. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a quarter panel right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I don't know if you can see that on the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
It was some good times back and good memories, man. This getting there was good, you know.
Yeah.
Just the trip was fun.
That's what
Oh,
makes
yeah,
it. You know, that's why racing is so awesome.
That's
Yeah.
kind of like why I missed the bus, because it was the trip. You know, it was
Yep.
always an old school trip when we had the bus. So
We had many good times on that school bus. It might have took us twice as long to get there, but
oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? We had a damn good
Well,
time.
Pop used to have a bus too, didn't he? That he had it where you can drive up in the back of it.
Yeah.
I think burnt down, didn't it? Isn't that what I heard?
I don't
I think
think
it
so.
caught on fire. Somebody told me it caught on fire.
Not that one.
Not that one.
There was another.
Oh,
That's so
That was
cool.
a different deal.
different,
Yeah.
different deal. That's pretty cool, man. Well,
yeah, man.
well, I know it's getting late, and you gotta go all the way back to White House, and
True.
we could probably talk about this kind of stuff for a couple
For
days.
hours.
Couple days. at
Yeah.
least.
It's
Oh, yeah.
endless.
I mean, 3 lifetimes of
Oh yeah,
stories, pretty much. So
for sure.
I think we'll continue this on.
Well, I've
another
enjoyed
day,
being.
man.
I've enjoyed being on
Man,
the
I'm,
show.
I'm
and,
glad we finally got you talked into coming on here.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to hear some more stuff, because there's details in this here that I didn't even know, and I know I've heard all this stuff at least once, and
Well,
it's pretty cool stories, I think.
Yeah, well, I just wish you all the luck in the world on your podcast. But thank you for letting me come on.
Yeah, man. Well,
Heck yeah.
we're definitely gonna have you back on here to talk about some more stuff, and shoot, man. I guess that's it. We'll see y'all next time.
Yep.
Well, thank you for listening. It's been good visiting. I haven't been around in a while. And the last time that we talked was the last time that I walked. I had to get on down that line and on down the line.